Hello, I'm Tory Taylor, and this is speech number 3, a speech to inform. The terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001. Most people may remember exactly where they were and what they were doing on the morning of September 11th, 2001. Commonly referred to as 9/11, Islamic militants from the terrorist group Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 airplanes and carried out one of the deadliest attacks on American soil. In this speech, I will detail the events of that day in an attempt to highlight the pertinent information related to the attacks. As most of you may know, it was a Tuesday morning. I was a substitute teacher at Gotha Middle School in Orlando, Florida. I was having a cup of coffee with my usual group of teachers when someone turned on the television. I remember seeing the image of one of the Twin Towers on fire. I ran to my classroom to meet the group of 6th graders who were just arriving into class. As they all filed in, I immediately turned on the TV and had them take their seats. What transpired next is now part of American history. At approximately 8:45 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11, leaving from Boston, Massachusetts, en route to Los Angeles, California, crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. According to History.com, the impact of the crash instantly killed hundreds of people and left hundreds of others trapped in the towers above. As I watched on TV, there were emergency responders en route to the World Trade Center to provide aid to the victims. There are also people on the ground who were scurrying around to avoid falling debris from the buildings above. As onlookers on the ground stared up at the wreckage, and with cameras still rolling, they had no idea what would happen next. At approximately 9:03 a.m., United Airlines Flight 175, leaving Boston, Massachusetts, en route to Los Angeles, California, crashed into the South Tower of the World Trade Center. I recall seeing the huge explosion that ensued. There were people on the ground running around trying to avoid falling debris from the World Trade Center and adjacent buildings. There was no doubt that the U.S. was now under attack. But the attacks would not end there. There were more planes and more attacks to be made. At approximately 9:37 a.m., American Airlines Flight 77, traveling from Washington Dulles Airport to Los Angeles, California, crashes into the west side of the Pentagon building in Washington, D.C. In the wreckage, 189 people were killed and hundreds more injured. The third attack of the day was another unexpected blow delivered by the terrorists to American Central Command, Military Command. But this wasn't the final blow that would be delivered. There was yet again another plane and another attack on the way. At approximately 10:03 a.m., United Airlines Flight 93, traveling from Newark, New Jersey to San Francisco, California, crashed into an open field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. The crash killed all 40 passengers on board. It's believed that the terrorists intentionally crashed the plane in an open field because the passengers on board tried to overtake the plane. There are unconfirmed reports or theories that the plane was intended for the White House. Prior to the crash in Shanksville, at approximately 9:59 a.m., the South Tower of the World Trade Center collapsed. Among the victims of the wreckage were dozens of New York City firefighters, paramedics, and police officers who were the first responders to the scene. Moments before the towers collapsed, FDNY were observed running into the buildings to help provide aid to those who were trapped in the wreckage. None of them survived the collapse. About a half hour later, at approximately 10:30 a.m., the North Tower of the World Trade Center collapsed. A building that once stood as a symbol of American freedom was now reduced to rubble, wreckage, and steel. The collapse of the North Tower would also be the last major event of note. At the end of the day, the death toll had reached nearly 3,000 people. The terrorists had accomplished their goal to carry out a major attack on Americans on American soil. A few facts from that day, according to CNN.com. Who was responsible for the attacks? Al-Qaeda, led by Osama bin Laden. Men who carried out the attack, 19 total. The death toll, 2,977. Estimated income loss for 2 to 4 weeks, $123 billion. Estimated cost of World Trade Center damage, $60 billion. Total cost of cleanup, $750 million. September 11, 2001 will go down in American history as the worst terrorist attack on American soil. Most people will remember exactly where they were and what they were doing on that fateful day. It will be a day that will never be forgotten in United States history. Thank you.